Okay, let's get started. First of all, welcome everyone. I'm Dr. Linda Erkely, and I'm the interim director of the UCLA Longevity Center. And I want to welcome everyone to our webinar today. Who's going to be our guest is Dr. Bijan Najafii. Dr. Najafi is a professor of surgery at UCLA, and he specializes in digital health and biotechnologies. He's the research director of the UCLA Center for Advanced Surgical and Interventional Technology, and he is here to talk about the evolution of artificial intelligence in healthcare. And in particular, he is going to speak on his topic today, and then we're going to open up to Q&A from our audience. And just to know that, let you know that you can chat in or type in your questions into the Q&A section, and we'll get to those towards the latter part of the hour. So I'm going to introduce Dr. Najafii, talking about artificial intelligence and digital technology and preserving wellness and aging. So welcome, Dr. Najafii. It's good to see you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Erkoli. Great to see you as well. May I ask that can you see my slide?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dr. Bijan Najafii, and it's truly a pleasure welcome you to today's webinar on artificial intelligence and digital technology in preserving wellness in aging. Before I begin, I would like to express my deep gratitude to Seminole Institute and the UCLA Longevity Center for their leadership in advancing healthy aging. Especially thankful to Dr. Linda Erkoli for her generous support and for the opportunity to share some of our recent effort at UCLA Center for Advanced Surgical and Interventional Technology, efforts that aim to rethink how we monitor, support, and ultimately preserve wellness as we age. As the aging population continues to grow, we are facing both a challenge and opportunity. The challenge is how to maintain independence, resilience, and quality of life as we get older. The opportunity lies in how emerging technologies, especially AI and digital health tools, can help us do exactly that. In today's talks, I walk you through how we are leveraging technologies like artificial intelligence and digital health technology, wearables, that can help to identify early signs of decline, personalized care, and promote aging in place. I'm excited to share our vision for a future where aging doesn't mean decline, but rather empowerment through innovation. Apologies for my scratchy voice. I'm fighting off a bit of cold and some of the seasonal allergy. I appreciate your patience. Thank you again for being here. Let's start. As a quick disclosure, I collaborating with several industry partners, including Biosensing and Best Buy Health, and hold patents in wearable technology. This collaboration have helped bring our innovation closer to real-world use. When engineers and clinicians team up, we don't just solve problems, we transform care. This partnership is driving a digital health revolution that's making healthcare more proactive, personalized, and accessible. During my talk, I hope to highlight some of these powerful collaborations, including collaboration that we have with Dr. Erkoli, that are truly improving patient care. You have probably noticed every day there is new headline about artificial intelligence. AI is no longer just science fiction. It's becoming part of our everyday lives, including in healthcare. Just maybe a quick history about the evolution of the AI. Probably some of you knows that the term of artificial intelligence was coined by John McCarthy in 1956. And since then, AI emerges as a new academic discipline. But probably early applications in the medicine starting in 1960 by amazing project by Stanford team that designed the first AI tool like Dendral and Mycin that help to actually assist identifying bacteria and recommending antibiotics. Another milestone that helped growing the application of AI in medicine was in early 1980s thanks to growth of microcomputer. But at that time, still we didn't have big amount of data. So most of the AI were rely on expertise of physician till 2000, early 2000, that electronic health records and medical database create a foundation for data-driven AI, and we saw its impact on the early 2010s on some of the cool applications like genome sequencing. That was the beginning of the precision medicine and the use of natural language processing, computer vision, and robotic assisted surgery. 2019 and onward was development of a great analytical tool thanks to big data like deep learning, generative AI, probably you hear about ChatGPT, and now the agent AI that is completely transforming healthcare and how we actually using the technology to provide care to the patient. Integrating digital health technology and AI into medicine is more urgent than ever, as our current healthcare system remains both costly and inefficient. For example, limited access to timely care costs the US billions of dollars annually. That that actually created a challenge. I mean, the challenge is clear. We need to shift from facility-centered care to patient-centered models that bring healthcare directly into people's home. And AI can play a vital role in making this a reality. Imagine if we could bring high quality care to your home where you are most comfortable. That's the promise of digital health and AI. And this is the area that actually my research and my colleagues' research are focusing on it. At UCLA, we have the Center for Advanced Surgical and Interventional Technology, or CASIT, where I have the honor of serving as research director. We bring together clinicians, engineers, and behavioral scientists to create technologies that make surgery safer and more personalized while also advancing innovations that extend care beyond the walls of the hospital. A little history about CASIT that it might be interesting to know. CASIT actually born in 1994 in response to a disaster. After Northridge earthquake, CASIT involved, it was created to answer the question that how could operating rooms be designed to keep pace with rapidly evolved surgical technology. That was a great vision at that time. Soon later, UCLA was one of the pioneers on simulation to help to revolutionize the way that we are training medical students and residents that was expand to other disciplines like nursing and dentistry and got a national recognition. And during pandemic was a great asset actually for training our medical students and residents. In 2023, thanks to generous donation by Rosenfeld family, CASIT and Simulation Center united in the same building, and now we diversify research. We would like to be a hub and leaders to help to bring technology to bringing the care beyond of the hospital wall. CACID innovations include patient and caregiver engagement tools, behavioral support, and collaborations with industry to drive health equity. We design technology not just for efficiency, but to improve lives. Now that we covered the background, let's look at the real world examples where AI and digital health technology can make a difference. One clear area is dementia care. Dementia already costs the world over $1 trillion each year and places a heavy burden on healthcare system, families, and caregivers. AI has the potential to improve how we detect, manage, and support those living with this condition. Let's talk a little more about it and see that how AI can help. Um, Currently, unfortunately, half of the dementia cases go undiagnosed in early stages. We need better tools to detect cognitive decline earlier, ideally before noticeable symptoms appear. As we age, some cognitive decline is expected. This is normal. This is what we're calling healthy aging. However, certain early signs can help us detect deviation from healthy aging, sometimes up to 20 years in advance. By identifying these early, we can offer personalized intervention to strengthen resilience and delay further decline. Sorry, sometimes my slow is slow, so that's why I have a pause. Measuring mobility and physical activity patterns can reveal hidden changes in health. Imagine a day when your smartwatch can detect early signs of aging and alert you before problems arise, helping you stay healthier and more resilient. This is the area of the research that we are working on at UCLA. The concept is not new. Did you know that the way that you walk, that we call in gait, can reveal early signs of cognitive decline, even 20 years in advance? This was first shown in a study published over 2 decades ago in the New England Journal of Medicine. Today, wearable devices like the watch that you wear can detect these subtle changes long before traditional tests. Building on that, one of the most effective ways to understand and predict changes in healthy aging is through the concept of frailty, a measure of how well the body can respond to and recover from stress. Unlike age alone, frailty gives us a more accurate view of a person's overall health and resilience. This illustration that you can see in this figure, it might look busy, but actually it shows the contrast. You can see, I don't know whether my cursor is clear, but you can see a robust individual that may lose some functional independence after a stressor like a surgery, but typically recovers quickly. On the other hand, a frail individual may take much longer to recover and may never fully return to their previous level of independence. What makes frailty challenging is that it's often invisible. It is like this tree that looks healthy on the outside but may be rootless. A person can also appear well yet be vulnerable inside. That's where technology can make a difference by detecting hidden signs of frailty early and helping us act before noticeable decline occurs. Combining a physical frailty and early signs of cognitive decline, that we call it cognitive frailty, gives us a powerful tool to predict poor health outcome well in advance. This early warning allows for timely personalized intervention that can help slow or even prevent further decline, giving individuals better chance at maintaining their independence and quality of life. Now, let's bringing it back to our solution for measuring cognitive frailty. We are working on simple wearable device in form of pendant or necklace. This device is designed to remotely monitor early signs of cognitive and physical decline in non-intrusive way. The goal is to make early detection easy, accessible, and comfortable so people can stay ahead of potential health issues without changing their daily routines. Let's give some examples. This is actually some of the results from our latest publication. These figures show how a simple necklace sensor or pendant sensor can help detect early signs of cognitive frailty. For example, a robust individual that you can see in the green color, they may sleep over 8 hours at night. This is a healthy pattern of sleep. But as cognitive frailty develops, as you can see in this red area, this duration of sleep during nighttime drops to around 6 hours. This is just one of the many metrics that we can track. Other metrics is daily steps, walking time, sedentary behavior, the way that we sit and stand and we walk, the number of variation of the steps that we have, and many more. The beauty of AI is that it can bring these data points together to create a single resilience score that helps flag early decline. So this is some of the results of the AI model that we have. As you can see, the sensitivity for detection of those cognitive frailty cases above 90%, but of course, we can do better. One of the problems that we have is that we have poor specificity means that we have high false alerts. So we are working to improving it by adding more feature to make it even more precise and reliable. And that's the beauty of the technology and advance of the technology. So recently, we enhanced our pendant device that can also analyze speech. Our voice can reveal more than we realize. Changes in speech pattern, tone, or pace can offer early clues about cognitive decline. By listening carefully, technology can help detect these subtle signs long before noticeable symptoms appear. Even a subtle change in speech can indicate early cognitive decline, and we use AI to analyze speech patterns as part of a remote assessment tool. It doesn't mean that record your speech, but simply extract some features that can help us to untangle some of the early signs of the cognitive decline. Actually, we published these results recently and we demonstrate how speech assessment using AI is powerful to identify those subtle changes as we speak. This is, of course, is a busy figures, but our earlier system was as simple of using a microphone to record the speech, but the AI can see that how the metrics that we measure are correlated with the cognitive function. And now we are pleased to inform that we combine those AI model in the same necklace that we have. We are currently conducting an NIH-funded study that combines our AI speech analyzing with the necklace sensor I mentioned earlier. By integrating voice and activity data, our goal is to more accurately detect early signs of deviation from healthy aging completely remotely using a simple wearable that fits into everyday life. These digital biomarkers help us monitor changes in resilience before symptoms appear. This study is ongoing, and we would greatly appreciate your help in spreading the word if you or someone you know might be interested in participating, please contact us by phone or email us at cassetresearch@mednet.ucla.edu so you can help us to advance those areas and can identify those early signs of the dementia early on. So now let's shift the gear. Detecting decline is only the first step. We also need interventions to maintain or restore resilience and promote healthy aging. Staying active boosts not only physical strength but also brain health. Movement and exercise truly is medicine, especially as we age. However, the problem that we have is that many current exercise programs fall short because they don't fully engage the mind or include the motivational element needed to keep people consistently involved. And this is the gaps that we're trying to address. We are now using a fun interactive exercise programs called Extra Game. It's a combination of exercise and game that combine physical and cognitive training to improve memory and reduce anxiety. How the system is working? The system is coming with a simple tablet like Alexa Show. When you turn on the tablet, of course, you cannot use for surfing. You can use a big text with some exercise that actually was selected to improve muscle activity and perfusion. It's designed for people who are frail and has early sign of the cognitive decline. But it's not just exercise. Actually, it uses an interactive interface to improve body perception, engage brain to perceive or position for the body in space. The interface is very simple. It's designed to be used at home and self-administrate. You can select the exercise, the level of the difficulty. It's come with a sensor, but it's very simple. Everything is voice enabled, like Alexa Show, providing a step-by-step guidance and includes a sensor that tracks progress remotely. As I said, it's self-administrated and especially designed for individuals with memory challenge and frailty. I have a short video that shows that how it works. So just you attach a sensor and everything become automatic. So you connect with the tablet, you can select the type of the exercise, and as you see, actually in real time, it gives you guidance. Whether, for instance, if you start with sitting exercise, just you need to lift up and down the foot. It's measure that whether you lift enough the foot, and also it counts the number of exercise that you're doing. It's give it 3 stars that you did it greatly and you follow the recommendation. But also, most importantly, it give a weekly progress report. For instance, we are hoping that when you engage the exercise, you feel that star. It's designed to be intuitive and simple and comprehensive. As I mentioned, engage body and mind. We believe that exercise should be tailored to any condition. Even those who are bedbound should be able to engage in exercise. This is a very important aspect to do. Of course, the program has variety of the brain exercise as well to help people to become active and promote resilience. This is ongoing study, but earlier results are very promising. We show that we achieve to improve cognitive function even after 6 weeks of using this system. It's helped to reduce resilience. It's helped to improve balance. Again, sorry for that advertisement, but we are very excited about this study, but we need your help. This study is ongoing. Please, if you are interested or you know someone who may benefit from this program, please reach out to us. Everything will be free. You can test this program and can help us to understand whether those kind of program can help us to improve mobility and reverse cognitive frailty. Now, let's look at the other development of the AI that would be cool and can help to actually provide better care for individuals. This is another exciting project we are working on with collaboration of Dr. Ercoli and Longevity Center is on the use of conversational AI as 24/7 companion to support patients by answering their question clearly and accurately. This is a reality. Unfortunately, many patients forget most of what they hear in the clinic. Education often not personalized, engaging, and well integrated into care. Let's say give you an example. This is a collaborative project that we have with University of Southern California. It is designed for patients with diabetic foot ulcer. We designed a smart boot to help people with diabetic foot ulcer go about their daily lives while protecting their wounds. But even with this simple and interactive solution that comes with a smartwatch, a simple guidance, some patients struggle to follow the care plan, sometimes leading to serious adverse outcome, unfortunately, like amputation. Every 20 seconds, someone is losing a limb because of diabetes. This is devastating reality. So let's meet one of our patients, Emily. Emily is 50 years old, single mom with long working hours and commute. We actually provide her these smart boots, but there's the challenges that Emily is dealing with. She forgets to wear the boots due to busy life. Boot can be uncomfortable. It affects the mood and makes it hard to focus. Finding time to follow the treatment plan is difficult and frustrated with limitation of mobility. We need to provide support. We need to provide companionship to Emily to help them to pass through this difficult time. And AI can help. AI can be available 24/7, answering questions, for instance, on boot usage, condition management at any time. It can provide education on how to use these boots and what is the wound healing process and management. It can send reminders, encourage adherence, get confirmation that she understands the care plan, and most importantly, it can provide mental support and motivation. These are very important because they need to have that kind of encouragement. We are at the early stage of testing those kind of companion AI app that actually improve over time based on the conversation that Emily has with this app. Some questions are very basic, like, can I wear my boots while driving? Sometimes we forget to explain this to our patient. Or should I wear socks when I'm using the boots? How do I start using the smart boot and the smart watch? How often should I change my watch? So those are some basic questions that she can ask anytime and getting the answer without having any stigma of those questions, even if questions are trivial. But we can go a step further. We can make the AI not be like a robot. We would like to add compassion as a part of the AI. And that's very important to address and combat loneliness that unfortunately is highly prevalent among people, in particular with dementia. Thanks to the other NIH study that just we finished, we creating an interactive care coordination solution that now is the market, but that solution is designed for caregivers to adjust the agenda and daily task routines for their loved one with dementia. They can share the pictures, they can define exercise like a calendar, and you can have circle of caregivers. But still, there's a lack of that kind of the companionship to help those people who are living alone. And with Dr. Ercoli, we're trying to address that. Actually, we submitted a grant to Longevity Foundation and the other agency, and we're hoping to get support to advance that field. But this is some of the general ideas that, for instance, the conversational, it could be as simple as, I miss John, and then AI trying to see that how it can boost morale. For instance, some of the question or answers that would you like me to show you some of your pictures or videos with John from your photo archive and social media and some other examples that you can see here? But those kind of examples can be trained, can improve to become personalized and engage the individual in the conversation. So that was a long talk, but his final thought, as Bill Gates said, we always overestimate the change that will occur in the next 2 years and underestimate the change that will occur in the next 10. Don't let yourself be lulled into inaction. Ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned at the start of my talk, AI is no longer science fiction. It's becoming part of everyday life, especially in healthcare. By technology alone, but technology alone isn't enough. Real change happens when engineers and clinicians work together to make care smarter, more accessible, and more human, no matter where someone lives. This is the future we can build, one where chronic illness is better managed, patients are empowered, and quality of life is not a right. Yeah, it actually is a right. It's not a privilege. I hope today's talk give you a glimpse of what's possible. Let's move forward together. I would like also to thank my collaborators, students, in particular clinical collaborators like Dr. Linda Ercoli that help us as engineers to how we can shift those technology to address the real research questions. Also, I'm very grateful of UCLA Longevity Center, Summer Institute for supporting this work and giving me the opportunity to share our vision today. Thank you so much. Again, as a reminder, please, if you would like to help us the studies, we have several ongoing studies. Please spread the word. Contact us, learn more about our ongoing study on use of AI for promote longevity, or reach out to our email as cassetresearch@medline.ucla.edu. Thank you so much for your attention. I would be happy to answer any question.
Wow, thank you so much, Dr. Najafi. That was very rich with information. I have many, many questions in my mind. We're waiting for for folks in the audience to maybe chat in their questions, but I just want to bring it to everyone's attention that in the chat, I did put the Cassett Research email that you can contact Dr. Najafi's um, Cassett Center about opportunities. And also there's the phone number as well. So thank you so much for putting that information up. God, there's so many things that are running through my mind right now, but one, I just wanted to really emphasize the importance of the potential for AI to close the gap in detecting cognitive changes early and getting people to the doctor early. That this issue is definitely, we know it's an issue of equity, because typically minorities and underserved populations are later to diagnosis typically than Caucasian individuals. So they come later to diagnosis, which means that um, they aren't getting early intervention as they could to slow down the disease. And there are different reasons for that, and some of those reasons are cultural, and some of them are about opportunities, about not having uh, the same equitable access to resources to get diagnosed. Another issue that comes up though a lot in diagnosis is who you go to first. And right, everybody should be going to their PCP first, but sometimes the PCPs are not adequately trained to detect these problems and chalk it up to just normal aging when it's not. Granted, it's not always an easy decision, but I could see where AI would really help and be a tool to enhance the diagnostic process and people that go to their PCP, if their PCP isn't sure or needs more guidance? What do you, how do you see that in that
This is
sense?
excellent point, Dr. Ekoli, and that actually one of the major motivation that we have for designing or pendant or necklace a sensor to help to address that. Actually, one of my colleagues when I was at Baylor College of Medicine in Houston is Dr. Mark Koenig. He did a lot of effort on those areas, and what he noticed is that when individuals going to primary physician, since they may have many other comorbidity, they complain about the dementia is not often it's come up the first problem. Sorry. And only primary physician pay attention to it when the family members mention about those early sign of the cognitive decline. And that was the problem because as you know, there are some good progress to I'm sorry, I have cold and allergy. So, as you know, there are some now good intervention that has been suggested to actually promote the resilience on both cognition and frailty, but they work only if we capture those symptoms at the earlier stage. Sooner is better.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes when those cognitive decline start to become apparent, it might be too late. We would like to start in long before. So that's why that we are hoping to use the technology that is every day with us and can capture some of the earlier sign that can help us to see that there is something going on. Sometimes it could be because of the medication that we are using. Sometimes it's some of the actually sickness that we get, like long COVID. Now we are hearing about it, whether it can impact on our cognition and some other factors. So if we have a technology that on every day can track these longitudinal information and can promote some sign, some early indicator that's showing that there is an onset that we're starting to see that the physical frailty is starting to develop, the cognitive resilience is starting to shrinking.
Mm-hmm.
Those can help us to understand the cause and provide a timely intervention. And as you mentioned, AI can play an important role because we have tons of data that we can collect them. The example that I gave about physical activity, you saw that sleep is important. We know that sleep is, if we don't have a good sleep, it can reduce our cognitive resilience. But sleep is only one factor. Sometimes the way that we walk does matter. The way that we speak does matter. Some of the environmental condition, like we did a study on relative humidity, that does matter. Sometimes you may not realize that. The pollution, sometimes we are inside. We don't realize that inside we may have a high indoor pollution. So the nice thing about technology is that now we can measure many of those metrics, but we need to have AI to ultimately combine those information and having, of course, a large database that can understand that what is the combination of those metrics that can be early sign of the cognitive decline. We have, and I didn't have a chance to cover them, we have another project that's called Precision Aging Network that is collaboration with other institution that we're trying to collect in very large amount of data from 1 million American, that from that we have genome, we have a biomarker, blood test, we have many other measurement, actually including some of those devices I mentioned that are used that ultimately hopefully can help us to combine all of those metrics to help us to identify early sign of cognitive decline and physical decline. The reality is that we can't manage what we can't measure. So we are at the early stage to having something that is very simple, intuitive, and can help us to measure the metrics that can help us to identify the condition and provide intervention that may work.
Mm-hmm. So that's two things that are very connected is that in order to provide the intervention and someone Suzanne asked like what are early interventions and how do they work, but even before you get to that you have to identify what the problem is in order to pick the most effective intervention. So can you give an example of how those two might work together? how you
So
would, yeah.
again, as I said, we are at the early stage that having some simplistic measurements to be able to capture the sun early on. So far, up till now, for many of those measurements, the patient needs to come to clinic, undergoing sometimes very complex measurements to identify those kind of sign. We would like to make it, as I said, as simple as a smartwatch that can
Mm,
capture those information. We are collecting the data. We are at the beginning. And that's the beauty of the technology that we have a tool that help us to collect them. The next, it's using that AI to help to process those data and come up an indicator that's simple enough and holistic enough to capture all of those dimensions. The second, then when we have those metric that is objective, it can test a right intervention that can help to reverse them. So far, since many of our measurements are kind of the subjective or not sensitive to change, often we have a struggle to see that what intervention is effective or not. Many of clinical trial in dementia fail because of that. Let's look
sure.
at, for example, one example. One example that we have is like MoCA. Probably many of you may be familiar with the MoCA. It's something that simply you can fill it some questionnaire. It's a test of memory, tray making, remembering the clock, etc. But the reality is that you cannot do tests on daily basis. You can learn. Even sometimes the people that they try those tests when they're going to clinic, they can mess up with the test because they can memorize, for instance, the number of flowers or the animals that you should remember. And that's kind of the problem that we have with those tests. Either we would like to have a test that would be enough sensitive that maybe within 1 month, if you catch cold or got COVID, we can see that there are some decline in cognitive resiliency. So we can identify those kind of onset or having some very fine time resolution that when we provide an intervention, we can see that whether that intervention is bringing patient to the right track. Uh, among of intervention, some of the simple intervention, I truly believe that is exercise, as I mentioned, and we have now some very promising results on exercise. But exercise ideally is that if you're going outside, be active, running on treadmill, that's great. But it's not necessary to be that. Exercise it could be a very simple, moving your legs, but engaging the brain when you are doing those activities. Some of the exercise, my favorite exercise that I have is like a Tai Chi yoga because that engaged body and mind. You can perceive also the position of your body. That was actually the prompt of that extra game that I mentioned that
Mm-hmm.
is added that component of perception of the body position. You need to think when you're lifting your leg. It's very simple. You're sitting and you're doing that exercise. But since you're watching that how much you are lifting your leg and you need to at the same time coordinate because you need to watch on the screen. This engage a lot of cognition for doing that simple task. And those are some of the gaps that we have in some of the traditional exercise that simply you're doing the exercise but may not necessarily engage the brain. But those are the beginning of the road. This is really tip of the iceberg. But we're trying to push forward both of them. First, having a better metric that we can
Mm-hmm.
monitor that change on both physical resilience and cognitive resilience, and then testing some practical solution that can be done at home. We know that it's not very practical to bring everyone to clinic to do those tests, but we would like to empower everyone that at home you are using some simple and motivational, for instance, exercise to be able to improve their health, well-being, and ultimately promote longevity.
Is the Xer game, someone asked this question, Marina, is are people can people have access to the Xer game and do the exercise daily on their own time at home? Is that
So
something available?
actually, it's a research. If you're interested to try that, please join that actually those phone number and research cassette. If you join, or research coordinators can evaluate you and can offer you that intervention. Yes, it's daily use. You can use it at home. It's not something that I'm saying that is commercially available. Currently, we are at the phase of research to see that whether we can improve balance and cognitive resilience. As I mentioned, we have so far 30 subjects that we enroll, and so far we are in a good track, but we need to reach to 100 subjects to truly say that whether this is effective or not. And we are hoping that ultimately that system become available so everyone can use it. But we are committed to actually uh, share those results to everyone, and we are hoping that others maybe can inspire from those results and making an intervention that is home use. Those solutions are voice enabled, the voice guide
Okay.
how to use that technology. So don't be scared that when there's technology I cannot use it. No, it's make it very, very simple. We're starting to emphasize on simplicity of the technology. And so far we have people with a mild dementia that achieve to do it themselves at home on daily basis. And we are seeing the progress on using those exercises. And we are very proud to see as a researcher, we can see some improvement in quality of life of the participants who are involved in our research and hopefully can help to advance the field forward.
Now, the people that you're recruiting in these studies, what's the cognitive status or the ability level of the people that you are trying to bring into the study?
That's a very great question. So they should have some level of memory problem, but it's really basic. It's not, of course, someone who has severe cognitive decline, like advanced Alzheimer disease. Unfortunately, they may not necessarily benefit from this program. We are working on that one, but that program is for those who may have had early cognitive decline and they have some level of physical frailty. If you're
Okay.
very active, if you are, I don't know, doing jogging or going, I don't know, hiking, probably those kind of exercises that might be very simplistic. But if someone is bent bond and doesn't move too much and has kind of a memory problem, we believe that they can benefit from this program. Again, everyone who is interested in, please call or reach that email address or research coordinators. We describe those study and we are doing the pre-screening to evaluate that whether you're eligible and can benefit from those study, and we invite you to be part of this study. The study is 12 weeks. You can use it on every day, those exercise. And we are testing to see that hopefully whether you are benefiting from those programs or your loved one, if they become part of this study, they benefited from those programs.
Now we had another question, an interesting question from Sihi, who said asked about an example of can you apply or what do you think of extending your technology to younger individuals? Like he was speaking about conversational AI, for example, but particularly because many young people have mental health challenges, they're lonely. What do you think about that?
Definitively. I mean, of course, it's depend on the context of the project that we have. By the way, that's an excellent question. So, as I said, for instance, for the example of diabetic foot ulcer, we have younger people that they
Mhm.
need that kind of the companionship to address them, to give them that boost. Talking with those AI that doesn't judge us based on the question and can provide some tip to improve, to cope with the condition. We have several other projects that I didn't have chance to discuss about it, but we have also for the people who has a drug addict, and that's the way that also we're trying to use it. We are using for supporting clinical trial at home to guide them to follow the recommendation to become part of the clinical trial, but not necessarily come into clinic, but they give the advice through those programs to how to follow the recommendation and many more. Some of our colleagues, they are using even about in children because the children with autism, they may have easy conversation. They know how to communicate with the kids with their language. Another project that we just complete them is for a cancer patient who underwent a complex surgical intervention We designed that solution as a companion. We call it personalized virtual assistant. Basically, when they discharge from hospital, we give that tablet with that conversational AI that guide them how they should follow the care plan post-hospital discharge. Often they trying to call center to answer question. So that was really actually stressful for them. But the fact that they can ask any of those questions, like for example, after surgery, when I'm allowed to do exercise, when I'm allowed to drive, what should I do if I'm observing that level of pain, whether my pain is normal or not? Those kind of the questions that is AI is personalized for that condition and also
Mhm.
can collect the symptoms and notify the doctor on timely manner about some of the symptoms they require to have timely attention and bring the patient back to clinic.
That's that's a very important application. Well, of course, like you say, there's always the false positive, but then the false negatives in these cases are really dangerous. But how many times do people labor over, do I go to the doctor? Do I not? Do I go to the ER? Do I not? And there's a lot of crucial decision making that's going on there. So this could be, if it's perfected to where the sensitivity, balances out the right false negatives, balance out false positives, then I think you really have a tremendously life-saving, potentially life-saving tool right there.
Absolutely true. As I said, the AI to work is having more data. But the reality is
Right.
that when we have more and more data, the AI becomes smarter and smarter and can
Mm-hmm.
reduce some of those false positive. We can never say that. Again, I like this quote from Bill Gates that we may overestimate the change that will occur in the next 2 years. That's the reality. We don't know that what will happen in 2 years. Maybe we overestimate some of the power of those AI, but the reality, if you look at in long scale, in 10 years, the technology changing, making our life sometimes easier. I have myself that experience that it was 2000. I was in Switzerland. Actually, I did my PhD in Switzerland, and I attended a telecom conference in Geneva. And during that time, of course, I started to doing some earlier wearable devices. We have a cool demo that we're presenting in that exposition, but the booth next to us, there was actually a company that shows the phone that can take a picture and we could email it back to us. So it was very fun. I took a picture and emailed it back to me. But then on return, I asked myself that whether that might be a useful tool, whether I will use my phone to take a picture or whether I'm
Hmm.
using my phone to have access to internet. I said that when I'm going to home, I want to be disconnected. I never check my work by email, but here you go. Now we are using our phone not necessarily for calling someone, it's for taking as a photography. That's the way that technology are changing. And I truly believe that
Mm-hmm.
in next 10, 20 years, you will see that the technology is integrated as a part of our care. It can check there's a term of digital twins that they can having all the information about our body and can guide us that there might be something going wrong and can give us earlier
Right.
sign to take an action on
Right.
it.
To intervene. Now, what about somebody asked, and this is a great question. Does my smart watch, like my Apple Watch, already measure some of these things, like steps, step length, walking, asymmetry,
Yes,
etc.?
actually it does. It does even the level of stress, how well we are sleeping. Not necessarily step lengths, not that accurate, but we have a metric that we're calling slowness or
Mm-hmm.
how fast you are walking. And actually, this is a very powerful indicator of frailty because when we start walking slower, this is a sign. Those change on the speed, it may not be noticeable to us. So required to have a long monitoring, and that's a nice thing about those kind of watch that can track those information, give a trend, saying that compared to a couple of months ago, it
Yeah.
sounds that we have a trend on increasing slowness. They are not yet activated, but even if you look at it, the smartwatch, how it becomes smart and give us some information about our
Yeah.
health. Imagine the next couple of years when those research that we are doing, maybe soon, it can tell us that, hey, there is something going on about our cognitive function, and maybe we need to pay attention to it.
And this is so important because, I mean, as a neuropsychologist, I've assessed, I don't know, probably thousands of people in my career. And I've given them tests like the MOCA and also much more extensive batteries. But the data that we're trying to gather is kind of coarse, right? Whereas there are other indicators, or we call markers or biomarkers, or some kind of marker of a change earlier on. That is where we really do need to go for, I mean, not just memory problems, but you're talking about like diabetes. And I think about frailty quite a bit because I think we've all known someone who has gone in for a procedure, don't come out the same, and never return to their usual level of functioning. I have, friends that I've thought about. It's like, do you really want that back surgery at age 80? Are you sure you want to do that? Because of the potential downside, or the, repercussions could be deterioration for some folks. So I think there's having this fine level of data or amount of data to help us really extract more than we can with tools that we have right now is going to be incredible, like incredibly helpful.
This is excellent point that you mentioned. This is also my dream. And I'm very happy that UCLA also taking seriously. UCLA, they have some surrogate. This may not be accurate, but it's still, it can measure if you're a patient of UCLA in my chart. They can collect some information. If you're scheduling the surgery, it may pop up to surgeon that, hey, that might
Mm-hmm.
be a sign of frailty. So it's better that we have prehabilitation to ensure that we improve the fitness of the patient, resiliency of the patient before undergoing surgery. We did it
Absolutely.
actually the same study on patient undergoing chemo,
Yeah.
and we demonstrate that we can actually evaluate how chemo reduce resiliency, and maybe we can inform that the surgery after chemo need to be delayed to ensure that we are, because when the resilience is coming down, it may go to the edge of cliff, and that's the point that's very hard to identify them, because if we push a little further, that become out of
Mm-hmm.
the cliff, and then it's
Yeah.
create a sequence of adverse event. How we can identify that level of resiliency? These
Yeah.
are the metric that we're trying to accurately measure, and we believe that we have some clue that how we should search those kind of metric to help us to identify how much resiliency left for patient to tolerate another intervention, another surgery, or another stressful event.
Just two closing statements. One is, will slides be available, or do you have any slides that you could share with the public?
Uh,
Because I know some of this is not, but
I would be happy to share any of the slide. Actually,
okay.
I'm the
Wow.
person
Thank
that
you.
I will share with actually with Longevity Center, and I know
Yeah,
that the talk is recorded with all those slides,
that's right. All the
and
slides are
it
there.
would
What am
be
I
on the
saying?
other.
Yeah. Here's an early cognitive test. Um, but also for chemo brain, a certain proportion of people come out of chemotherapy with chemo brain. Some people recover, other people never quite get back to normal. And it's not like a huge proportion. It is a substantial minority, though. And wouldn't it be nice? And we talked about doing cognitive testing on people going not about to get chemotherapy, but it's so arduous sometimes to get cognitive testing at a time when you're under, gonna have surgery, or you're gonna, have breast cancer or colon cancer. It's like the last thing you want to do is go for 4 hours and get your cognition tested. And people are not thinking about cognition and protecting the brain as now. They do much more, but in the past that's not what they were thinking. They were thinking, we want to kill the cancer, right? So wouldn't it be wonderful to have some kind of predicted measure to identify individuals that might be the most vulnerable to these cognitive changes that follow chemotherapy, similar to COVID-19, right? That people don't for whatever reason, and there's a multitude of reasons for this, that they may not recover from that. This would be a beautiful application
Absolutely.
as
Yes.
we
I,
think
I
about
love
that.
those kind of applications because as an engineer, starving to hearing those kind of problems. And we can
Yeah,
solve the problem. I admit that engineers often uh, they may not be good to identify the true problems, but they are good problem solvers. And that's the beauty of actually having engineers and clinicians closely collaborating
right.
together. And that become beautiful and it could be impactful.
So the importance of collaboration, and by the way, the CASIT and the Longevity Center, if there is a study that somebody would like to fund, um, this is something that's possible, but we'd have to talk to our development department. But if there is something near and dear to your heart that you would like to invest in or contribute to a project, that is something that can be done. But anyway, it's 5:03. I want to be respectful of everybody's time. Dr. Najafi, I can't thank you enough for really putting your heart and soul into this talk and talking about this most cutting edge topic that's out there. I can't think of anyone better to have here to talk about this than you.
Oh,
And
thank you so much.
and I want to thank our wonderful followers of the Longevity Center. We appreciate you. Thank you for coming here today. And the slides and the talk will be up on our website as soon as it gets edited. So it will be on our website and linked to YouTube. And if you have Dr. Najafi's information, please feel free to reach out. And thank you to our team, our AV team, and Dee Dee for all of your support today. So be well, everyone. Take care and thank you.
Thank
Bye
you so
bye.
much. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.